welcome to SveNFL.
What's up, y'all?
It's Jonathan Rollins.
Give me Sarah.
Two Americans living in Sweden, talking about football. Yeah, man. It's week 15. It's in the books, man. God damn.
Crazy ass week.
God
Crazy
damn.
ass week.
It is a crazy week, man. I feel good. My team came out and dominated another bad team.
Yeah, I wish I could say the same.
Yeah, I thought both our teams were going to dominate bad teams, but you had a bad outing that unfortunately, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, but it's the other thing is that it's almost Christmas, y'all. It feels like I got my tree up.
Same too.
I bought all the gifts have been bought. I just haven't had time to wrap anything yet. But I think that shit starts today.
Well, we do like a
after.
Oh, go ahead.
After today, I think I'm gonna flip into Christmas mode, like for real, like
full on Christmas.
My inner Santa will emerge. Yeah.
We did we had our Christmas, like the family Christmas get together already. That we do where we do the have some Christmas food and everybody we play like you bring your gifts and stuff. You have the Christmas gift game, So we did that.
What do you
already.
mean? You did it already?
Yeah, we do a thing on Christmas Day, but we always do a family thing when everybody can get together like a week before. Normally. So we did that, and we had the Christmas exchange game. And it's like you roll the dice and all of that shit.
Right.
And it was fun. I got a candle holder that looks like a bong. So I made the joke that it looked like a bong, and then it got weird.
And then everybody was like, "What do you mean a bong?"
I was like, "Is this for marijuana?"
A thing to smoke weed with. And then the whole room is just like crickets.
Yep. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Everybody acting like they never went to college.
I was the same. When I first moved here, I moved here directly from California, where weed jokes were not only acceptable, they were kind of expected. And you try to tell a weed joke, or like, I moved here at a time where before I realized that there were certain rules of Swedish conformity that need to be followed in order to avoid awkward situations. But prior to learning that, I was always of the mind that like, I'm going to be me.
Yeah.
I'm going to be me everywhere I go. And I don't think it's weird to say like, oh, sometimes I like to smoke weed instead of drinking. Like, I just thought that was kind of like, what's up? That's normal. And then it's like, nah, not here.
Yeah. Nah, it's
You will be frowned upon, sir.
Yeah. And they'll be like, oh, I can't believe he said that. It gets awkward.
Yeah. They look at you like you're some kind of a fucking heroin addict.
Yeah.
Man, did this dude just did this?
Exactly.
This is a sick Negro. He's a habitual line stepper.
Or even more.
Come on out, you rapist!
Oh, sorry. This is different. It's different.
Is it? It kind of look at you the same.
Yeah, like I'm saying. It's like I just smoked the joint, man. I ain't raping nobody. But to get started on the week, man, we had really big development thanks to the Thursday night game. We didn't do an emergency pod. It felt like we needed to, because
I actually disagree.
Yeah.
What do we need to do
point.
an emergency pod for something that we knew was going to happen anyway?
Yeah.
Right?
Writing was
like
on the wall. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, after the Raiders dropped 63 points on the Chargers, Brandon Staley gets fired 24 hours later. I texted you that given the 42-0 halftime score, I thought he should have been fired right in the locker room. And then I read like a few days later, apparently Richard Sherman agreed, because I heard that he said the exact same thing, like on the Amazon broadcast at halftime. Like, this guy shouldn't even be allowed to come out of the locker room for the second half. I was like, damn, that is like, it's one thing for me to say it out here in the midst of nothingness, but you're getting called out on Amazon Prime halftime show. That's pretty
by Richard
crazy.
Sherman, man. Oh, man. Well, I mean, they had to do it. He gave them no choice. And the Raiders, who scored 0 points, scored 63. And it's just all type of records broken. And it was a fitting exit for one Brandon Staley, who's now set his team up to really test the theory of Coach Fired victory next week.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about that when the time comes. But I got nothing to say about this game except for at least it got Brandon Staley out of there.
I think that was a good thing. I really liked. The only thing I have to say is that obviously the Chargers were a total no-show, but I really love how the interim head coach for the Raiders, Pierce, I love how he was just like, we are not taking our foot off the gas.
Yeah.
We are going to crush these people and we're going to break their souls.
Yeah.
He was like, fuck it. We're going to knock their dicks in the dirt and we're going to beat them until they can't see straight.
And they did it.
And we're going to get my man, former Bulldog Zamir White, into the end zone for a touchdown, baby. Let's go. That's my guy right there.
I did not expect that. I did not expect a Georgia reference.
His nickname at Georgia was Zeus, so every time he would score a touchdown, the whole crowd goes, Zeus. Fucking love that guy.
I like that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, the Raiders, good job. Thank you for throwing Brandon Staley out of our lives for the rest of the season. That's a great gift, I think.
How about the Bengals Vikings with an overtime thriller? Did you have that on your bingo card?
No, sir, I did not. And this one was weird because, the Vikings were rolling.
Yeah.
The Bengals looked like they were struggling throughout most of the first half, but then you had these two red zone turnovers by we buried the lead. Nick Mullins was the starting quarterback for the Vikings in this game. And eventually Big Lou and Arumo and his boys, they just got better as the game went on.
Yeah. Because the offense only had 3 points going into the fourth quarter.
Exactly. Which makes the second half performance of Jake Browning just that much more impressive.
Yeah.
And also considering they lost Jamar Chase in this game, who appears to be slated to miss some time. I think he may have dislocated his shoulder.
Okay.
This was a massive wasted opportunity for the Vikings, especially considering how well their backup running back Ty Chandler played in this game, rushing for well over 100 yards. Jordan Addison, 6 for 111, I think, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
On top of that, the Vikings D, obviously, they racked up 4 sacks in this game. They played really well. The two picks were terrible. One was right into the hands of Mike Hilton at the goal line, and the other was even more embarrassing with Nick Mullins being sacked, trying to throw the ball away, and he basically just handed it to BJ
right
Hill, who was the guy sacking him. He threw a pick 6 in this game too, but it got called back because of a Bengals penalty. He completely unraveled in the second half.
Pick Mullins.
Yeah, but Browning, obviously, he stepped up again and delivered. I keep waiting for this guy to fall apart. To his credit, the dude is nails. Absolute nails in the clutch. And I don't know. The last thing that I think is worth mentioning in this game is that T. Higgins touchdown catch, which was just not from
Oh my God.
this universe. My God, if you haven't seen it, people, you got to go back and watch this thing. I mean, it's just,
yeah,
it's crazy.
Those of you that are Patreon subscribers, that was the moment. That touchdown was the moment when the over under busted and we lost our bet. And I was like, it's worth it.
You texted me. You were like, "That's a hell of a way for us to lose that bet," and it was.
Amazing.
It was like something. It was like something out of the Matrix, like the way he caught it and then like swung his arm back. It's just I can't describe it. Just go watch it.
It was like Disney movie worthy.
It was crazy. It was dope.
Yeah, it was a really good. We got a good game from these two teams though. That was good. It's fun.
How'd Mitch Trubisky do? Was he good?
Man, I don't know what they do, man. He's so frustrating to watch.
No, but that headline's out this morning. Trubisky is benched.
Oh, but then they got Mason Rudolph. Oh my God,
Mason Rudolph is going to start if Kenny Pickett is not good to go. That's the headline.
I need a Three Stooges sound effect for their quarterback room.
I mean, and the Steelers had this one kind of in their grasp early. It was a Mitch Trubisky touchdown followed by a block punt by Hayward, which led to a Deontay Johnson touchdown. And the Steelers were up 13-0 very early in this game, in part because they missed the extra point on one of those touchdowns. But then the Minshew magic kicked in, man. That dude threw
they were like the Undertaker.
2 TD passes, one to Zach Moss, the other one to DJ Montgomery to take this 14-13 lead into the half, and then they just kind of wrestled the game away from him in the second half. It was a pretty impressive performance in the second half, especially considering that they lost Zach Moss in this game to I think some sort of an arm injury.
Yeah.
And these two backup running backs who nobody's ever heard of, Trey Sermon, Tyler Goodson.
Nope.
I mean, they just ran it right down their throats for the rest of the game. It was really, really impressive. They're a weird team, the Colts. They just refuse to go away.
Shane Steichen, man. These rookie coaches, this rookie coach class, pretty impressive.
I'm actually starting to think that Shane Steichen is probably going to win Coach of the Year.
Nah.
Considering what he lost at the beginning of the season and what they've been able to do without the quarterback.
Man, Coach of the Year.
I'm not saying he deserves it. I'm just saying that's the rookie coach who loses his starting quarterback and still manages to make the playoffs. If they do that, he has a very good chance of winning Coach of the Year, whether he deserves it or not.
Okay. I get that. I just don't think any coach is doing better than Kevin Stefanski.
Better than who?
Stefanski, the coach of the Browns.
That's a good point.
No coaches. He lost Nick Chubb. What, game 2? Game 1? Then he lost Chubb. He lost Watson. He lost the offensive line. He lost some. I forget how many starters they lost, and they are still in the hunt.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's a fair point as well. He's a good coach.
Yeah. He's been Coach of the Year, though, a couple years ago.
That's probably why he won't get it, though.
And then he shat the bed the next year. Speaking of Coach of the Year, Dan Campbell. He reminded us that team is high-powered offense playing against the Broncos, who were on a streak, man, and they just put an end to that streak. 42-17.
Jared Goff rips off a 5-touchdown night and absolutely eviscerates the Denver Broncos. I really enjoyed seeing. I saw an interview with Dan Campbell in the days leading up to this game. And he said that his former coach and mentor, Sean Payton, he He played under Sean
yeah.
Payton for a number of years and also was an assistant coach under Sean Payton. Has an enormous amount of respect for him. Credits Sean Payton for pretty much his whole career. He said, we got to be on our game because he's going to come in here and he's going to try to embarrass us because that's just who he is. That's how he coaches. The Lions have obviously been struggling as of late, a little inconsistent. Goff especially has been turning the ball over a lot lately.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a fear of embarrassment or just the fact that they collectively realized it was time to pull their heads out of their asses. But the Lions were the embarrassers, not the embarrassees in this one. They came out and spanked that Broncos ass.
And made true. What did they make true? Jonathan Rollins' bold prediction.
What was your bold prediction? I don't remember.
That Jared Goff was going to get inside from the cold weather and was going to have a bounce back game and have 4 touchdowns. I said 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, bounce back performance. And
damn.
Yeah.
You nailed it.
Yeah, that was my bold prediction last week.
It was a slow start after a scoreless first quarter. The Lions, they dropped a hammer, scoring 21 points before heading into the locker room at halftime. And then they came out and just continued to bitch slap the Broncos with another 21 in the second half. Everybody was on point. Jahmyr Gibbs had 100 yards and a touchdown. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 112 yards and a touchdown. Sam Laporta, rookie tight end.
They got studs over there.
56 yards receiving and 3 motherfucking touchdowns.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, Jahmyr Gibbs. That's got to be my favorite trio of weapons. It's up there with the 49ers, man. Because I love the way Jahmyr Gibbs runs. Of course, it's not McCaffrey good, but they're just fun, man. And they play hard like that and physical. Yeah. It's up there with
I think the problem with the Lions is really it's usually that their defense is so inconsistent.
Yeah.
In this game they obviously played really well. But who they're going to be in the next game, I have no idea. So, look, all that aside, the Lions are going to the playoffs for the first time and God knows when. And maybe they win a playoff game, maybe they don't. But it's a very promising team. You've given Detroit fans who have had very little to root for, some of them probably in their entire lifetime.
Yeah.
And now you have a good football team with a really good coach. So congrats to them.
What do you think about their division rival, Chicago?
I don't usually think about them very much, to be honest with you. What I will say is that the way this game ended was just bonkers. That Hail Mary that gets batted right into the lap of Darnell Mooney, who bobbles it and somehow manages to kick it back up into the air into the hands of the Browns defender to end the game.
Man. All of me wanted to blame Justin Fields because this always happens. They get down, and then he can't get them to generate any points at the end. He can't read the defense. He's just kind of running around. But scrambling won't help you because everybody's looking at you. You can't win the game like that, so then he has to do it with his arm. But I couldn't because they kept dropping the ball. They were dropping the ball. Like he was making some good passes and stuff. I don't know, man. I'm wondering about him, which brings me to my question I got for you. How is this? Kyle Shanahan. No, I'm just kidding. What team will Justin Fields play for next year?
Well, actually, I'm going to answer both of those questions. In part, it is Kyle Shanahan's fault because he had the opportunity to draft Justin Fields, and instead he took Trey Lance. So there's that. There's that. Next year, where will Justin Fields play? That's a really good question. I don't think he'll play for the Bears. I think there's a fairly good chance he might play for the Atlanta Falcons.
Ooh.
And I'm not necessarily saying that because that's something that I want. But I've been hearing a lot of buzz, a lot of articles, a lot of, he's a hometown guy. Atlanta is obviously lacking a competent quarterback. And I don't know if I don't necessarily think Justin Fields is the answer, but I think I'm not entirely sure where. I don't think the Falcons are going to land in a place in the draft that will allow them to draft one of those stud quarterbacks coming out this year. I think they'll be just outside of the bubble where it would be, unless of course they decide to trade up, which is possible. But something tells me they're going to miss out on the good quarterback in the draft. So I think there's a fairly decent chance that they'll kick the tires to see if they can make a move to get Justin Fields.
Man, I hope they don't get pantsed for that. But
he's from Kennesaw, Georgia, actually. So he's from.
No, I mean I hope they don't get fleeced like how Houston got fleeced for Tulsa.
Yeah.
But you gotta have a low price though, for real. They should be happy to if they get like a second or third round pick. The Bears.
Agreed. I'm continue to be just like amazed at how the Browns continue to eke out these wins. Obviously, it's all about their defense, which continues to produce turnovers. But this one could have gone either way, especially considering the fact that Flacco threw 3 picks on his own.
1 pick 6.
Yeah, this was obviously his shakiest performance, but he's fun. I don't know. It's kind of fun to see that he's out there still doing it.
They called him Joe Cool back when he was with the Ravens because they say he doesn't get flustered or whatever, and it was obvious.
He has a pretty nice cover 2 beater as well. He can really float him in there. You can tell he's been around.
Yes.
And they needed him to win this game because the Browns could not run the ball at all. They had only 29 total rushing yards in this game. So this one was all on Flacco. And obviously there were some ups and there were some downs. But when you have a defense that good, you can afford to make some mistakes.
Yeah. And the Bears defense, we thought they were going to be kind of, I don't know. They look good. They've been looking better lately. Yeah. Eberflus trying to save his job. Too little, too late.
I think they need to move on from Eberflus. I think it's time.
Yeah. They need to get Brandon Staley in there. He's available.
Yeah, that's true. They should go get him.
The Falcons played the Panthers, and the Bucks played the Packers.
Look, we don't have to spend a lot of time on this game. We really don't. 7-9 was the final score. Okay. The Falcons just lost to a 1-win team despite the defense not giving up a touchdown. To me, this is criminal negligence, a fireable offense. Desmond Ridder, stick him in a rocket ship and fire him off to the sun, as far as I'm concerned. Game on the line, up by 1 point, just like you're in the red zone.
So bad.
He managed to protect the ball all day in the pouring rain.
It's out of the pocket.
And it's like he suddenly remembered that he forgot to throw a fucking pick. Why is he even allowed to pass this late in the game when you're already in field goal range and you can go up by 4 and force it, like, and then you would force the Panthers to have to do something they haven't been able to do all day, which is score a touchdown. It makes no sense to me. I watched the Arthur Smith press conference after the game, and it's very interesting because most of the year he's been pretty testy with the press. Little attitude.
Yeah.
This press conference, Arthur Smith looked like a man who was ready to step in front of a moving train.
Oof.
Beaten down.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get into it, I guess, at some point. But yeah, he is expected to keep his job, barring a late season collapse. I kind of think that losing to a 1-win Panthers team,
it's kind of a collapse.
qualifies.
It's at least a feint.
We have an 11% chance to make the playoffs, but it's like at this point, I don't even want to make the playoffs because making the playoffs means at best you're going to get what 14th or 15th or 16th pick in the draft. I don't
Playoffs? Don't talk about
that.
Playoffs? You kidding me?
And likely you're going to play either Dallas or Philadelphia in the first round. So not interested. Anyway, let's move on. I got other things to say about them later, so we can move on to the Bucks, who beat the Packers 34-20 and look like a team that actually wants to win the dumpster fire division of the NFC South.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield had a perfect. Baker Mayfield had literally a perfect passer rating in this game. It's probably his best game as of the year. But the story of this game, besides the terrible defensive performance by the Packers, was Rachaad White, who continues to roll week after week in this offense.
Man, I was like, whoo, when he put that move on old boy off of that little Texas route. Oh, my God.
And Chris Godwin, who finally had a game after being kind of non-existent for much of the year, goes 10 for 155. And then, of course, White Gino, as I said, 4 touchdown passes. And he just had all the time in the world to stand back in the pocket. And the number of long, second and 18, third and 20, and the Packers just let him have it. It was just,
They wrote me off. I ain't right back though.
For me, this is I don't want to take anything away from Baker because he played really well. But for me, this defensive performance by the Packers was embarrassing.
Yeah.
At Lambeau, mind you. What are you doing?
LaFleur might be on the hot seat. Maybe. I don't know. I thought it was they look like the team that deserves to be in the playoffs from that division.
Agreed. I agree.
And the Packers look like they're just not ready.
Yeah, they're at least a year away from being interesting.
But them Texans, talk about coach of the year.
Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, yeah.
It's like, come on, man. It ain't stacking. It's another that AFC South is about to have some heavy hitting coaches, man. If Texas remains how he is, and then you got Vrabel, and then you got D'Amico.
It's a good point. Texans won this 19-16 in overtime. The Titans blew it like a porn star in a big spot, losing to the Case Keenum led Texans. I'm going to say it again. Case Keenum. Okay? What, why, how? And wearing the Oilers throwbacks.
Yeah, man, did him dirty.
As an insult to all these Texans fans.
Yeah.
And even cold. What Vrabel came out dressed up like Bum Phillips with a cowboy hat from the Oiler days, the old Oilers coach. He used to always stand on the sidelines with a Cowboys hat. He did all that stuff.
But this ain't Halloween, man. It's a football game. And
on a day where they were honoring my childhood hero, Mr. Billy White Shoes Johnson. This is the performance they put in. Shame. Shame. Shame.
I don't have that sound anymore. We used to have that on the soundboard.
Singletary had a great game, 26 for 121. Noah Brown did a great job filling in for Nico Collins. And D'Amico Ryans had that Texas defense just swarming. They sacked Levis 7 times.
Yeah, nearly under duress.
Nearly broke him in half at one point. He had to leave the game for a little while. And they held Derrick Henry to 9 total yards. 9.
This feels like the whole year, though, man. It seems like every week we're like, and then Derrick Henry only had, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
His fall off has happened.
Good question will be, where does he wind up next year?
I think he's going to be one of those players that gets brought in on some team when there's an injury.
I feel like he could still be a really relevant running back for a good football team. Like, look at a guy like
Tampa?
We're going to get to this in the next game, but your guy, Raheem Mostert. Here's a guy who's 30. Raheem Mostert's 31 years old, and he's absolutely lighting up the league, leading the league in rushing touchdowns this year. I don't see any reason why Derrick Henry couldn't do that on a different team. I still think Derrick Henry has something to offer. I just think he needs to be on a better football team. That's what I think.
Yeah, maybe a different scheme. Yeah, because it's hard to. He's kind of a tank though. He's looking for contact.
I know, but if he plays for a team that has an offensive line that can open up a fucking hole for him, that
true.
tank. Once you get him through, you get him through to the second level, this is a man who could still run you over.
Yeah. Man, imagine if the Eagles got him.
What were there were rumors that he was going to get traded at some point.
Yeah, I remember that.
And who? Oh, it was the Ravens. Remember?
Ooh,
there was like
a team like that, man. Oh man,
I don't know if it was
scarier. After this week, is Buffalo. Because they decided to run the ball this week. We'll talk about that too. But
hey, Buffalo's found their running back. We're going to talk about him in a minute.
Yeah, of course we will.
We better even fucking back up the grapefruit truck, motherfucker. We're going to talk about it.
Well, first things first, we'll get to the Miami Dolphins, who had a get-right game against the Jets, and boy, did they get it right. 30-0. It was in Miami. It was a full stadium. I've noticed that. It's been full earlier than normal. Normally it fills up, early second quarter, but they're ready, man. And Miami didn't have to do much, man. Tua was 21 for 24, 224 yards. Mostert just did what he does, find the end zone. He's got a nose for it. And Jalen Waddle stepped into the Tyreek Hill role, and it fit him.
Yeah, he did.
He was going off. He would have had even more yards if it weren't for a holding call that took away another big play. But he got behind the defense like Hill does, smoked them. They're supposed to be top corners in the league. It was just not even close. Miami we were flipping back and forth from red zone because we knew Tua wasn't even going to play the whole game, and he didn't. Mike A. White came out against his old team.
So Raheem Mostert breaks the franchise record for rushing touchdowns, and also managed to score more touchdowns this year than he scored in his entire career.
Wow.
Up until this season.
He's always been a committee back, man.
He has more touchdowns than I think 4 or 5 entire football teams.
Definitely the Jets. They said it.
Including the Jets.
Yeah.
The Jets were a joke. It took them forever to cross midfield, and when they did, Trevor Siemian threw a pick. I thought that was hilarious. They were like, "Oh, the Jets have." They cut to him on Red Zone, and they're like, "Oh, the Jets have finally." Scott Hansen was like, "Oh, the Jets just crossed midfield for the first time in this game," and Trevor Siemian dropped back to Pat. Oh, he threw a pick.
Man, Brandon Jones, man, that's another player that was drafted by the Dolphins. 2 picks in this game.
Simeon was playing because Zach Wilson got knocked out with a concussion. At first, I thought he was benched, but then I saw he got whacked in the head.
Yeah, he was getting beat up, man. He had a sack fumble.
He got sacked by 3 people at the same time, and on his way down, he got a knee right in the face, and so yeah, great job by the Dolphins. They're so much fun to watch.
Yeah. Then the Giants, Tommy DeVito is ready. Come out and by the way, flip and pick 'em. Your boy, it was 11-5 this week. Just throwing it out there. I'm coming back, man. I'm on your
That's true. Whooped my ass this week.
Yeah. And this was this was a game that we thought. No, you picked the upset here, right?
I called the upset. I was 100% wrong. I was on the Tommy DeVito train.
And never left the station.
Tommy DeVito rolled into the Big Easy and got pants by the Saints defense, who were out here disrespecting this motherfucker. Sacked him 7 times, and every time the Saints would celebrate with the Italian hand gesture like this.
You brought it on yourself, man.
I mean, it's like, what do you expect?
In that Jets game, Dolphins Jets, Quinnen Williams got a sack, and he got up and did the Waddle dance. And on the next offensive play, Waddle gets a big 60-yard touchdown.
Like, be careful.
He poked the bear. Yeah, I'm sorry, but continue.
Derek Carr had the kind of day that the Saints fans couldn't possibly complain about, but probably will anyway.
Why is that?
Because they complain about everything. 23. I mean, they're like literally in the hunt to win this division, and they can't stop complaining about their football team because they're just the worst. 23 for 28, 218 yards, 3 touchdown passes. But obviously the story of this game was the defense. They just choked the Giants out.
Yeah.
No touchdowns, of course. But I don't think they even allowed the Giants to get into the red zone in this game.
Wow.
So great performance by them.
Tommy DeVito's bigger than I thought he was. Like I saw, they ran him a lot. It felt like they were running him quite a few times.
They did,
at least more than I expected. And he looked kind of big out there on the run.
There was also something happened in this game that wound up being a trend for the weekend, which was quarterbacks getting hit in the head as they were going down to slide.
Yeah.
And there was a nasty one in this game where he gave himself up, he went down, and the Saints player was just like, I don't care. And just knocked him, just whacked him. This happened in quite a few games this weekend. I
saw the Josh Allen one. The Chiefs played the Patriots in a closer game than they expected. Because Patriots came out to play, man. They were keeping it close. Even got a pick on Mahomes. But
I think they got. Did they get 2 picks on Mahomes?
Oh yeah, 2 picks on Mahomes. Yeah.
Well, one of them technically was.
It wasn't his fault.
One of them they technically picked off Kadarius Toney, who basically just he continues to be such a punchline for this team. The early season drops, the lining up offsides last week, and this week he bobbles a catchable ball right into the hands. Basically, it's almost like he handed it to the DB for the interception. And I know that they have been trying to defend Kadarius Toney all week.
No more.
But you just got to bench this clown and let the rest of the whiteout room just rid themselves of this cancer. He's just. Yeah. He's not a serious. You were not a serious people. He's just not.
You are not serious people.
To me, that is serious.
Did you see in the Dolphins game, Robbie Chosen? I know I keep bringing up Dolphins game.
Yes,
Robbie
I did
Chosen
see that.
Goes up to the line. Made me think about it with Kadarius Toney. He points at the ref or the line judge. Points at him. Doesn't get confirmation that he's on sides. The guy comes onto the field trying to get his attention, telling him to back up. The line judge. Robbie Chosen doesn't pay attention, and he gets the flag for offsides. And it's probably exactly what Toney did. Point at him, don't get confirmation. No, they showed that he didn't even look. But you know what I mean? It was like, well, I guess that's what they do. Maybe they are talking to him more than I thought. He tried his best. He's like, oh, well, I guess I got to throw a flag on you.
True.
Besides
Rashee Rice, who balled the fuck out, 9 for 91 and a touchdown, and the touchdown pass coming from my man from Marietta, Jerick McKinnon. How about that? Former quarterback. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Man, I mean, he's only 5'7". He jumped out of the damn stadium to catch that ball.
He climbed the ladder to go get that.
What an effort by Mahomes too to put it there.
I mean, that was picture perfect. It was beautiful. Yeah. You're right. The Patriots played really well early, but the better team, the cream, just kind of rose to the top, and the Chiefs were able to overcome some of the mistakes and just take this football game.
Speaking of taking the game, the Rams, goddamn. They came out. They look good, man.
I'm sorry. I hate to do this, but I mean, again, it has to be said. It's not. I know it's not my fault that Matthew Stafford went to the University of Georgia. I'm just pointing out
I hate
a literal
to do
fact.
this.
I didn't tell him to play for the University of Georgia. I did not tell him to do that. But
They look
technically,
good, man.
he is my man, former Bulldog Matthew Stafford. He was out here dealing these throws, the arm angles, the way he slings it. Ooh,
He's one of my favorite quarterbacks, man. Jeez.
bruh.
Reminds me of Brett Favre, the way he plays, man.
He's so good. He's so good.
He's a gamer, too. Love it.
Absolutely. And also, like, this guy, Kieran Williams,
Man.
who, I mean, where was this guy on the depth chart when the season started? I have no idea, but this guy has been an absolute revelation. He is so good at his job. 27 carries for 152 yards and a touchdown. I mean, he's unbelievable.
Yeah. Ron Rivera got to be gone, huh?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I wonder if they stick with the staff and like bring up, like promote Eric Bieniemy and see what happens.
I really hope so. I mean, I just think for the sake of like, let's just see this, man. Like, Bieniemy is that guy who just can't, for whatever reason, get the job. Like, I just want to see if he's good at it.
Yeah, I'm curious too. I saw the one thing that stood out when I watched the Hard Knocks. I was watching the in-season Hard Knocks, and the Dolphins played the Commanders, and I had never really heard Eric Bieniemy talking. And then he comes up to Tyreek Hill, and he just starts talking to him about catching up because they were together in Kansas City. And I was like, man, he's got this like, he had like a presence, like it was like respect, and like I don't know. I mean, Tyreek Hill seems like he tried. This type of person that's like personable and all that shit too. So it was like, I wonder if this. It felt like a coach. I wonder how it will work out.
I want to see it.
Yeah,
Ron
me
Rivera will definitely be gone at the end of the season for sure.
Yeah, interested to see what they do. But this is another Coach of the Year candidate. I think is Sean McVay. I think these Coach of the Years, they got to think more about, instead of getting some strong team to a 13-1 record or whatever, maybe these guys who got dealt a bad hand and were predicted to win 5 games. I remember he had a press conference and they told him the over-under was 5 or 4 or something like that they had. And he was like, damn, really? In the press conference. And
wow.
With nobody, they were trying to figure out if he was saying, I don't know if we'll get that, or, that's low, that's disrespectful. But either way, he's already outperformed it. So,
yeah.
Shouts to him, man. He's part of that. I don't know if you know, but he's part of that Shanahan tree.
Oh, my God.
All the best coaches, man. All the best coaches.
Speaking of Shanahan,
we got another one from that tree.
Let's move on to the original nut from that tree. San Francisco 49ers beat up on the Cardinals 45-29.
A lot of points, though.
Yeah, it was
29.
pretty close at halftime, but then the 49ers separated themselves.
Yeah.
The 49ers, they were so wide open in this game. Debo had a touchdown grab with nobody in sight. McCaffrey had a long one where he catches the ball, falls down.
Yeah.
It takes him like 3 seconds just to get up, and he still
like a
has
horror
time.
movie.
And then he just gets up and walks into the end zone. This is a terrible performance by the.
But then they'll say Brock
sure.
Purdy's the best quarterback in the league. It's like, get out of here, man.
Yeah, whatever.
I'm annoyed by this, man. 16 for 25. 16 for 25.
Yeah.
242 yards is good. 4 touchdowns obviously is good, but if you look at it, there's no way he's more valuable. And right now, they're saying he's like the odds-on favorite to win MVP. If he wins MVP, get the fuck out of here.
I honestly think this is on my radar. I'm a little annoyed by this, and maybe it's just because it's the end of the season. But I think the MVP conversation is so stupid most of the time, and it's mostly recency bias. Like last week, everybody was crowning Dak Prescott. And now after Monday Night Football, everyone's saying Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yep.
After Sunday Night Football or whenever that game was, it was Josh Allen.
Yeah, exactly.
They're talking about Josh Allen is like, no, Josh Allen is not going to be MVP. No, in that game, which is the next game we're talking about, right? Yeah, that's the next game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in that game, he has 94 yards. He threw the ball 15 times and only completed 7 of those passes. So what are we talking about? I mean, they cracked the code. Great job, great effort, great defensive effort by the Buffalo Bills. But that doesn't mean Josh Allen is the reason. He is still the face of the team. He's still the best player on the team. But let's get the fuck out of here with that, man.
Let's frame this properly. Okay.
Okay.
The Bills beat the Cowboys 31-10. Mm-hmm. They curb stomped the Cowboys.
Yes. Yeah.
But the question is, how did they do it? Was it a big time Stephon Diggs day? Nope.
Nah.
Maybe Gabe Davis, Dalton Kincaid combo? Nope. Okay. It must have been Josh Allen passing to someone.
Or running. Josh Allen running, maybe.
Sure. But with only 7 completions on 15 pass attempts, no. This game right here belongs to one man and one man only. So you back up the grapefruit truck because I'm talking about my man, former Bulldog James Schif, who had the best fucking game of his NFL career. 25 carries, 179 yards, a touchdown plus 2 receptions, 42 yards, and another touchdown. My guy, Cook, dropped an anvil on the Cowboys. This guy was
amazing.
He was like a warm knife going through butter.
Yeah.
In this game, it was like the way he managed to navigate, and the way that he's managed to come on in the last like 2 or 3 weeks to become the running back that the Bills have always needed, and all it took was for them to believe. And the way that they're
rid of Dorsey, they got rid of Ken Dorsey, man, and started running the ball.
And quit fucking around in the red zone, acting like a running back like James, thinking that a running back like James Cook is not big enough to be your red zone back is fucking ridiculous. Like you saw the tape, you drafted him. This is the way they used him in Georgia. Like you watched the fucking tape. Like you drafted him for that reason, and then you don't use him for that purpose. And to me, like aside from the running part, I mean that hands catch on the receiving touchdown where the ball is low down by his knees, and he gets his 2 hands down there, boom, in the hands, catches it right there.
I was like, how did he catch that? And they were like, oh, Josh Allen, what a play.
No, dude.
It was like, it was a bad throw, and he makes the great play. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
I'm just saying, it's not my fault he went to Georgia. It's just, it's my job. It's literally my job to point this out.
Your job to point it out, yeah.
I don't know where everybody else went to college, to be fair, but whatever, you know.
Well, you pointing it out, that's like the only points that are for the it's more points than the Jaguars were able to squeeze out against the Ravens.
That's true. I probably have made more Bulldogs references in this pod than the Jaguars have points. I agree.
Yes, man. Where are you at on Trevor Lawrence? Remember, he was the prototypical can't-miss generational quarterback. And needless to say, he's not that he was.
I'll tell you where I'm at. I'm at a point where I think that Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback. Mm-hmm. But I think I've seen enough to know that he does not deserve the title of generational quarterback.
Yeah. He's with a really good offensive mind that was able to get Carson Wentz on the MVP level.
I think it's one of those. I think it's like one of those things where when a guy like Patrick Mahomes comes into the league, who is a true generational quarterback, year after year, the media just cannot wait to find the next one. I watch this a lot. I follow hockey quite a bit. I mean, for years, every year, oh, this guy could be the next Gretzky, and it's like. And There's only one Gretzky. It's just,
Exactly.
there's only one. There's a reason why, they retire numbers in the NHL, and there's only one number that's retired for all 32 teams league wide, and it's number 99, because even for the teams that he has never played for, nobody's allowed to wear that number because he's the greatest player to ever play the game. Period. There's not going to be another Gretzky. It's a thing that happened at a particular time. These generational quarterbacks do not come around every year. Trevor Lawrence is not one of them. And it'll take years.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
So, yeah. But I will say this. Great performance by the Ravens on both sides of the ball. Okay?
Man.
My man, and again, I'm sorry, but former Bulldog Roquan Smith, defense was in full attack mode. Okay. Yeah. And of course, Lamar Jackson, former Louisville player. I do know where he went to college. He was like an absolute fucking wizard. The way he avoided that sack and then hits Isaiah Likely, who's in double coverage. And did you see the third? They showed the replay. The final clip. They show the guy. He tries to sack him. He misses. Lamar gets away. He throws the ball and he gets hit right as he throws the ball. And the defenseman who tackled him, he's just looking at Lamar, and you can read his lips through his helmet. He goes, "How? How did you do that?" It was like the ultimate respect. It was really, really cool. It was just like, how? Like, it must be so frustrating to play against this guy.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone expected the Jags to win this game, but look,
nah,
they're in a bit of trouble here.
Yep.
They're not playing their best football. They're banged up. And while they are still technically sitting at the top of the AFC South due to 3 straight losses, everyone done caught up to them. The Jags,
they
Colts,
peaked at the wrong time.
Jags, Colts, and Texans are all now sitting at 8-6. So this division, which looked like it was going to be a cakewalk for the Jags, is going to turn out to be a real nail biter.
Yeah, man. Who would have thought the Titans would be at the bottom before the season started? Not me, who picked them to win it.
Also, sad news for the Ravens. They lose Keaton Mitchell for the year to a knee injury.
Oh.
Apparently, this is so bad they didn't show the replay. I haven't seen it.
I've seen a still shot. I can send you if you want. But his leg basically goes backwards. Yeah, he was just running too. He tried to do a move and get stuck in the grass. Final game, an upset. The sexiest game of the week turned out to be quite the sexy game.
Bird battle.
Yes, it was a bird battle. And
I have a question. Do the Eagles deserve the 2023 Fool's Gold Award?
We should give that out every year. We've been calling for their demise. I'm at the point now that I'm feeling like the late great what's his name? Old coach from the Cardinals.
But they are who we thought they were.
You know what I mean?
Oh.
I feel like him.
Kingsbury.
That's not Kingsbury. I said late great. He died. This guy.
But they are who we thought they were.
I can't remember. Dennis something. I forget.
Oh, I was just thinking that Cliff Kingsbury should be dead. Sorry. Just given that record that he has. Sorry.
But he Dennis Green, that's his name. I had to look it up. But I feel like that they are who we thought they were, because I've been calling for it. I've been like, when I'm looking at it, it doesn't look like they're a top team, and then they figure it out at the end, and it catches up to them. This is like that. Our Fool's Gold team a couple years ago was the Steelers. Then we had the Vikings that were Fool's Gold, and now it felt like this year is it the Eagles, but it felt like they were just figuring it out. They made their way through Jalen Hurts' injuries, and he's back seemingly healthy because he was the only thing working. in the game, and they still couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, that's a good
Seahawks
point.
ran the motherfucking ball down their throats.
Right. Kenneth Walker, who wasn't supposed to be able to run the ball on the Eagles, just ran it through a motherfucker's face. I mean, 19 for 86 and a really nice touchdown run where he was cutting and juking and directing blockers like he was fucking Steven Spielberg or something, like out there going, you over there, you over there. And it was just really fascinating to see. And then Drew Lock, that final drive, those 2 big time catches by DK Metcalf, and then a perfect throw, and even better fingertip catch by Jackson
Toe
Smith.
drag.
I mean, wow, nails
Yes.
in the clutch. Drew Lock, who would have thought?
Pete Carroll told us he had 2 starting quarterbacks last year. He said that, and he carried them over into this year, and it looks like he was right.
We didn't listen.
No,
we didn't listen. Unbelievable.
So, it was good. The Eagles got some soul searching to do. Losing to the Cowboys and losing to the 49ers, that's one thing, but you shouldn't lose to these Seahawks, I don't think, who are soft in their own right on defense, and the Eagles couldn't take advantage of it. Every time they got to 3rd and 1, we all knew what was going to happen, and they did the tush push or the whatever they call it, Liberty Bell, I don't know. And then one of them, they got called for offsides. I think that's what's going to be the thing they're going to start doing. They call for offsides on one of the Eagles players. So I go after that.
If I'm an Eagles fan, I'm a little worried, but I will say this as a neutral fan, I do think Sirianni deserves some credit for his ability in the past to make adjustments and win football games. So I'm not, as much as I want to call them fool's gold, I'm not completely giving up on them yet. I think they're still going to be a tough out in the playoffs.
It's because of the standard that we've all put them at they were the Super Bowl favorites when the season started. Even though San Francisco has the best roster in the league. And people were just like, no, the Eagles are going to do it. And everybody's loves this tush push thing, and that's like part of it too. So they're just like, they have this unstoppable thing. But that unstoppable thing, it's not like the Wildcat when that was the unstoppable thing. Because Wildcat will get you fucking 12, 15 like chunk yards down the field. Tush push is going to get you extra downs. And then you got to figure something out to do. So, and Hurts throwing the ball, he didn't look that great.
17 for 31, 143 yards, 2 picks, no touchdowns. I mean,
he had some short hoppers. He scored on a sneak earlier in the game, but I was like, I don't know, man. It didn't look that convincing. I feel like they'll still figure it out. I don't put it past them. They can, in a game, like you said, these adjustments and stuff. I wouldn't worry, but with the standard that was set, maybe they are a fool's gold.
But they might also be one of those teams that peaked at the wrong time as well.
Yeah, they peaked week 3. Yeah, but that's all the games. We've gone through them now, and I feel like we can. You want to hop into these superlatives and get out of here?
Let's do it.
All right, I can go first with the. Or do you want to?
It doesn't matter.
All right. Oh shit! I was looking for this the whole.
Marcus Mariota.
I was looking for that so I could say that if Justin Fields came to your team, he would be the best quarterback since.
Marcus Mariota.
I couldn't find it, man. Sometimes I'm blind. I was like, did I delete that? I know I kept it around.
That's funny.
All right. Let's get it going. My real MVP is Baker Mayfield. I remember not too long ago when the Bucs went after Baker Mayfield. Everybody, including me, laughed at this pickup. I attributed it to the Bucs building their roster through free agency in order to get that Super Bowl, and now they were going to have to just bite the bullet and try to figure it out. I thought it was a disservice to Todd Bowles and yet another example of giving a black coach a shit deal. It never crossed my mind that Baker Mayfield could be a serviceable quarterback in the NFL. I should have known that there was something there when he was a quarterback that the almighty Sean McVay went after on short notice when Stafford went down last year. Former Bulldog, Matthew Stafford. Then on half an hour of practice and a Snicker bar, he won them the game. I knew he was a gamer. I knew he was marketable. But on Sunday, he showed us peak Baker. The white Geno legend just keeps growing. 22 for 28, 381 yards, and 4 tutties. Jeez, Baker. Save some for the rest of the league. The doubters make it a redemption story, but I'm certain Baker knew it all along. So for week 15, Baker Mayfield.
You the real MVP.
Nice. Well, very much deserved.
Yeah.
My MVP is going to go to a former player, a man who had 3 Pro Bowls over 14 seasons, a man who was part wide receiver, part punt returner. As a receiver, he only had 337 receptions for 4,211 yards and 25 touchdowns. But as a punt returner, he had 282 returns for 3,317 yards and 6 touchdowns. Throw in another 3,000 yards and 2 touchdowns on kickoff returns. What you have is a man who is known for his shoes as much as he is for his dance moves. I'm talking about my man, former Falcon and Oiler, Billy White Shoes Johnson, who this week was inducted into the Titans/Oilers Ring of Honor. Played for the Oilers from 1974 to 1980, and then he came to my Atlanta Falcons in 82. He had a year in there where I think he played in the Canadian Football League or something, and then he came to the Falcons. And he came in to light up the heart and imagination of a 9-year-old version of yours truly. This dude was the most fun and exciting player of my childhood. You just never knew when he was going to rip off an insane punt return. Punts are normally like a formality, but in Atlanta from 1982 to 1987, punt returns were an opportunity as long as Billy White Shoes Johnson was on the field. Not sure if this is 100% true, but Johnson is also credited with maybe not inventing, but certainly popularizing the touchdown celebration.
Yeah.
So in some ways you could argue that this man basically changed the game. I love the guy. And I think it was cool to see that he's probably never going to get into the Hall of Fame. So stick him in the Ring of Honor.
You the real MVP.
Who's your trash?
I really tried to avoid this. I know that most people are tired of me complaining about the Falcons, but and I'll keep it short this week regarding trash. There's objectively no other correct answer, in my opinion. I'm not going to unravel this pile of shit. I know that they're trash. You know that they're trash. The rest of the world knows that they're trash. Get them out of here. Bury them in a hole. Cover them up. And let the rain come down, and maybe it'll grow into something else next year. Something that preferably doesn't look like trash. The Falcons are my trash.
Damn. Here's my trash. I didn't say the you are trash part.
You are trash!
The writing's on the wall. We knew the Chargers were going to fire Brandon Staley after the season was over. It would be a dignified send-off. Kind of like they did with Anthony Lynn. We all knew it was past due, but we accepted it. All Staley had to do was just keep being regular bad at his job, and then he'd be let go and give his speech about how grateful he is for the Spanos family and his time in L.A. and the fans and all that jazz. But no, that wouldn't be enough for Brandon Staley. He had to do it the Staley way. This defensive coach had to go out and get 63 points hung on his team by a Raiders team that, mind you, went scoreless the week before. Side note, the guy who held that team scoreless was a head coach last year and got fired before Brandon Staley. This game was embarrassing. Everything went wrong for the Chargers. The Justin Herbert perfume wasn't available this game to distract from the shit scent that's all over the place. And it was evident that Brandon Staley has been in over his head for almost 3 seasons and carried by this quarterback. The fans deserve better. The players deserve better. And for the last time, I bid farewell to Brandon Staley with the reminder that, sir,
You are trash!
yeah,
Nice. Way to put an exclamation point on it.
kick him on the way out. My shit got learned. There's a new who knows call out there made by referees, and it's intentional grounding. What the fuck is intentional grounding now?
This is such a great point. Go on.
Growing up, I felt like it was a very rare call. I don't remember that many intentional groundings. I knew what it was because I saw it once or twice or whatever, but it wasn't common growing up. And it's not super common these days, but it still feels unclear. So here's the official definition of intentional grounding. It's a foul for intentional grounding if a passer facing an imminent loss of yardage because of pressure from the defense throws a forward pass without a realistic chance of completion. A realistic chance of completion is defined as a pass that is thrown in the direction of and lands in the vicinity of an originally eligible receiver. I take this as a quarterback trying to reset the play because the play's not going to work. It's like cheating. This is another one of those calls that's left up to interpretation of the referee, and that's where the trouble always begins. I watched the Dolphins game, of course, and Zach Wilson got in trouble pretty much the entire game because that's what he does. And he just threw the ball at the feet of a blocking running back or a tight end whenever he got in trouble. And I've seen that call before with the referee saying that since the player is engaged in a block, then it's still grounding. It doesn't say that in the rules anywhere, but that's how it was explained to me by a referee when I see my team get penalized. And that would mean a few incompletions from Sunday should have been intentional grounding, but of course it's not because the ref said it's somebody that was eligible. It's so much interpretation by the referee, and passing is so prevalent in the leagues today that it needs to be ironed out exactly what the fuck intentional grounding is because it's definitely not clear. That's my shit got learned, is that we still don't know what intentional grounding is.
I couldn't agree more. It's so inconsistent. I saw this in a few other games this week too, where it was just like, and Isak and I have been arguing about this complaining about this for weeks. It's like, I don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
Because in one game, it feels so clear that was it. And then you see it in another game and they don't call it.
Or he's getting sacked and then trying to throw it when he gets sacked, but then it's affected, and it's like they gotta iron this out, man.
Yeah, it's stupid because it's a huge penalty. What is it like?
Yeah,
is
loss
it like
of down,
15
10 yards? It's 10
yards
and a loss
and a loss
of down.
of down? It's like, guys, if you're going to be handing out loss of down penalties, you need to figure that shit out.
Or if it happens and they don't call it, and it is intentional grounding, the defense could have taken somebody out of field goal range and make them have to kick the field goal if it's third down. You know what I'm saying?
It's weird, too, because, like, you throw it – I know this isn't really part of the conversation, but it's like spiking the ball when you're out of timeouts.
Yeah.
How's that not intentional grounding? You know what I mean?
It's in the rule. It's mentioned in the rule.
I understand that, but I'm just saying
But if you were to hold it and don't, you have to spike it immediately.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, it is like the most literal definition. You are intentionally throwing the ball to the ground. You know what I mean? Like, it just feels weird. Like, sort the shit out, bro. It's like, it's so stupid. I hate it. My shit got learned was Raiders history, baby. That's the shit I learned. Vegas scored 63 points in a 42-point win over the Chargers, the most points scored in a game in Raiders franchise history. Vegas scored 42 points in the first half, just 4 days after being shut out, as you mentioned. That's the most points by any team in NFL history in the following game after being shut out of a game. The 63 points given up were the most points ever given up by the Chargers. And the 42-point loss was the third biggest defeat in franchise history. 8 different players scored for the Raiders in this win, tied for the most by any team since the LA Rams in 1950. Trey Tucker was the only player to score multiple touchdowns for Vegas. You had a man, former Bulldogs, Zamir White, Jacoby Myers, Michael Mayer, Devontae Adams, Brandon Bolden, John Jenkins, Jack Jones score. Every player with a scrimmage touch scored a touchdown except for Amir Abdullah.
And they had defensive player too.
And that's the thing. We kind of overlooked that when we talked about this game. Like, you had a thick six from Big John Jenkins.
Yeah.
And that pick six by Jack Jones might have been the most beautiful pick six I've ever seen in my life. One-handed.
Reading the screen, picking it off, almost ran past it.
Flying through the air, catching it with one hand. It was unbelievable. Myers also, Jacoby Myers threw and caught a touchdown. The first player to do that for the franchise since Marcus Allen in 1983. And the 42-point victory for Antonio Pierce was the largest ever by an interim head coach.
Wow.
A lot of history made in this game.
Man.
And you got Brandon Staley fired.
What more could you ask for?
Yeah, it's perfect.
I'm putting some Speck. I'm putting some Speck on Cook in that Buffalo run game. I feel like everybody's making it about Josh Allen, but I think it's smart of Joe Brady. It's Joe Brady, right? No. I forget who that new guy is. Whoever that new coordinator is was smart. Take the ball out of Allen's hands until you really need it in his hands and let Allen be almost a decoy and let the running game cook, man. No pun intended. And they sure did. And Cook went off, and they're going to have to.
James
That's
Cook,
the Georgia song.
Where did he go to college? Is this the song from Georgia, the college song?
It is.
The hell with Georgia Tech. I'm so happy for him.
So they're going to have to. People thought that Buffalo couldn't run the ball. All they have to worry about is the pass game. Now they're more balanced, and they're scarier than ever. So they're telling everybody.
Put some respect on my name.
What's your spec?
My spec is for Sean P. Stellato.
Ooh.
Tommy DeVito's agent broke the internet last week. The fact that he looked exactly how we would imagine, with the pinstripe suit, gold chains, and the fedora, was not only hilarious, but very quickly rivaled the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce narrative as the most interesting off-field story of 2023 NFL season. Mm-hmm. In the days that followed, I'm not going to lie, I kind of fell into a Sean Stellato rabbit hole. And I got to say, there is a lot more to this guy than I think most people realize. This is not just some dude who looks like he became DeVito's agent because he grew up like down the street. This guy is a dude who has been around the block. A guy who represents several NFL players, most of them late rounders, and in a lot of cases, just undrafted nobodies. The guys that none of the big agents want. And he goes out and he pounds the table. This dude is an underdog hustler, and his backstory, for anyone who's interested, is amazing. I'm not going to dive into it completely here, but he, on top of all of this is a guy who just got recently inducted into the National Italian American Sports Hall of Fame, which I got to be honest, I did not know existed, and I'm a little annoyed that I have not been called myself. I don't know if they know that I was a 3-time state champion soccer player as a kid. Grew up in an Italian family, but whatever. This guy's inducted into the Italian Sports Hall of Fame with guys like Vince Lombardi, Joe Montana, Franco Harris, Joe DiMaggio, Rocky Marciano, and now you got Sean Stellato. This guy has an amazing backstory. You go look him up on Wikipedia. He's got his own website. This guy writes children's books. He's also written a book about his high school football team that has now been optioned to be turned into either a movie or a TV series. I can't remember. But he's a fascinating dude. He's very, very interesting, and a lot more than just like some guy who looks like he fell off of the set of Sopranos. Interesting guy.
Put some respect on my name.
All right. Scariest AFC team. I'm still going with Buffalo.
Yeah, they're the team I do not want to play right now.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Scariest NFC team. I'm saying Niners.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
All right, man. We did it again, man. Congratulations, Schif.
Thank you. Congratulations
Well done,
to you
man.
as well.
It's been fun. Week 15 is in the books. Thank y'all for checking it out. We'll be back to talk about what we think is going to happen in week 16, so stay tuned for that. Until then, it's been Jonathan Rollins.
Skip Musara.
With SveNFL. Peace.
Later, y'all.